At first, when I started playing Dota 2, I actually preferred playing Dota 1. We attended the International, the first tournament, and at that time I didn't really enjoy playing Dota 2 yet. But around October last year, I started playing it a lot, and as the game progressed and as I amassed games, I just started loving the game even more than I had loved Dota 1, and it has a weekly update now that changes the game from everything in terms of graphics to heroes and such, and I think Valve and Iceberg is doing an excellent job balancing out the game, but also making sure that it's up to date and can compete with the competing titles such as League of Legends and Heroes in that world. I think as long as they have the ability to turn off these cosmetic changes, that I think it's going to be what they implement somewhat the same way they had in Team Fortress 2. If they have the ability to just turn it off, I think it's great. Like if you can just play the game by default and people who's also in the game but can see it in a different way in terms of graphic, that's fine. I don't mind. If I can play my game with the regular graphics, that's cool. I think they're gonna do like Axe running around with a top hat and stuff like that. I think it's fine. I think Dota 2 is gonna be the widely accepted esports title. I think League of Legends is doing a tremendous job trying to be the #1 esports title, and admittedly they are right now, but as I see it, it's not a sustainable business plan they have. They get a lot of users, no doubt, but as long as it's only Riot pumping in money into the game and the competitive scene of it, it's not really an esports title the same way Dota 2 is already starting to be, with all the different tournaments and people putting cash into the game from various sides. Obviously Valve has this $1 million tournament, but we see a lot of organizers organizing huge prize money tournaments that can definitely compete with League of Legends in terms of pro players making a living out of playing. With the player base, I'm a bit more concerned about the fact that League of Legends is very easily approachable, whereas Dota 2 has much more of a steep learning curve and might scare off completely new users to the genre. But I do hope that people, by word of mouth or whatever, have their friends tell them it's worth it as soon as you've played like 10, 20, 30, 50 games maybe. People will start getting the hang of it and they'll see that it is clearly the better game of the two. Yeah, I definitely think Dota 2 is going to be, if not the biggest title, then definitely one of them. Right now it's in its early beta stages, or early, it's soon to be a year, and we have 50,000 active players daily, I think. And that may not sound as much, but then we have Dota 1, the predecessor, with a player base of estimately 20 million people, which easily matches the numbers that League of Legends has. And if Valve does the marketing correct and manages to get all of these Dota 1 players to go over to Dota 2, I think it will be like the #1 title, and will be the title that will stand side by side with StarCraft 2 at pretty much all the events. So yeah, I think Dota 2 is gonna be the next big thing. I think it'll definitely improve because of the fact that people aren't really interested in watching games that they cannot have a hands-on feeling themselves. So right now we're limited to an audience who's either have the beta access or really die-hard Dota fans. And while I think there's a lot of die-hard Dota fans, they probably prefer spending their time on playing themselves. So as soon as the game actually goes live the same way League of Legends is, where everyone can play, I think the stream numbers are gonna skyrocket, and the game will take off and take its rightful place as #1 game. I think Valve should maybe learn from what I hear Blizzard has done and take in employees who focus on esports alone and helps the tournament organizers, the teams, the sponsors even, and obviously the players, helps them get the tournaments going, make it more professional, and just make it easier for both the teams and players to get to these tournaments, and make it easier for the tournaments to have their sponsors get their names out, so the prize money can improve, and you know, the benefits of being a pro player can improve, and all that kind of stuff. So I think Singapore and Malaysia will most definitely change games. The big question remains, will China change or not? If anything, I think we could learn from StarCraft Brood War changing into StarCraft 2. It took close to 2 years, but with Cosmetic finally approving of StarCraft 2, I think that the entire Chinese Brood War scene will eventually die out and instead change to StarCraft 2. And I feel that the same thing is going to happen with Dota. Once they figure out that Dota 2 is where it's at, it's the better game, and once Valve starts developing Dota 2 more than Ice Rock keeps on updating Dota 1, it'll be a natural thing for them to do. Obviously, with pretty much half the Dota scene being Chinese, reported numbers being over 10 million players, it's a must for Valve to get the Chinese on board if they want to compete with the titles such as League of Legends, who has rumored very high player numbers. I've really missed being at a LAN event. I took a long hiatus on 3 or 4 months, so I missed out on ESWC, on the last DreamHack, on some of the LAN events in Kiev. So I'm looking forward to playing again. It's nearly been 10 months since my last event. And with our new roster, I think we definitely have the potential to go deep into the tournament and possibly even win. We'll have a 2-week bootcamp prior to the event, and I see our chances being fairly high. With that being said, there's such a fierce competition within the European scene right now, and it's pretty much anyone's game depending on who hits the day and who has the better practice. So with teams such as Navi and Virtus Pro and CLG and Mousesports all rumored to come, I think it's going to be a good indicator of what's to come at the International. A huge thanks to our fans and the continuous support they give us. We've been through a rough patch lately, but I'm really looking forward to getting the new lineup integrated and going. And then obviously a huge thanks to Evil Geniuses for supporting us and the sponsors as well.